we have Matt Schnell versus Steve Erceg. It's gonna be a flyweight bout. Matt Schnell set 16-7. He's actually coming off a loss to Mateus Nicolau via ground and pound KO, fighting against Steve Erceg 11-1. This guy's 5-0 in his last five, and he's actually coming off that decision victory over Alessandro Costa. As we look for the odds for this fight, we see that Erceg is a minus 310, and he opened up at a minus 220. So, pretty good line movement there. Gerard, what do you think about Schnell versus Erceg here in this flyweight bout?
Matt Schnell, he has the quality experience, but he doesn't have the quality wins from what I see. Um, he does have solid stand up and jujitsu, but from fight to fight, it looks like he looks like he has slower reaction time in these fights, and he's getting hit, he's getting countered. Um, but he's still a solid quality fighter. I think he just looks like he's aging here. As for Steve Erceg, I like that he sticks to a game plan. He kind of has that fight IQ and doesn't do anything wild. He minimizes mistakes. And I think Erceg is just a sharp fighter all around. Um, the one thing that he doesn't have though is that power in his shots. Uh, he has good stand up, and he does have some dangerous submissions that he can find, similar to Snell at times. Snell was able to have that Hail Mary submission on Sumadarji, that triangle choke. Uh, yeah, this fight, I think Matt Snell is just facing a younger, better version of him in Steve Erceg. So for me, I have Erceg by decision, and I'm a high confidence on Erceg in this fight.
Yeah, I have similar thoughts to you. I mean, I think that at this point in his career, this guy's nickname is Danger, and he's a dangerous fighter to have money on. I think that he's the definition of kill or be killed. This guy either loses spectacularly or wins spectacularly, especially lately. He does have some slick grappling. Like, he can really end fights with that sub skills that he has. I do think that he's a better grappler than striker. He does like to counter more so on the feet. Even though he likes to counter, though, he does dish out some solid volume. And I think that this is his best attribute. This guy is a dog. I do think he's a really, like, he has the heart of a dog, never gives up and won't stop fighting. I mean, I watched that Maderji fight, and I thought this guy was going to the hospital. Like, this guy looked like he was about to die in that cage, and somehow he got like a fourth win or fifth win because he was out multiple. It looked like he was out multiple times during that fight, and just came back to get a triangle choke. So, like, you can never count this guy out until you finish him. Granted, he has been finished multiple times, especially in the UFC. He's been knocked out in the UFC four times already. He's been sub once, so he has been finished. I do think that Erceg is the play here. It's just more solid everywhere. I don't think he's as dangerous on the feet as other fighters. I really like to compare him to the Basharat Bros. I think that this is going to be another one of those guys that you can kind of just lay some units on and just have a good day with it. Because his first fight in the UFC, Steve Erceg, was against David Dvorak. And David Dvorak was a ranked fighter at that time, or close to a ranked fighter. So, although the flyweight division is a little thin, that's saying something when your debut fight is against David Dvorak, and then he 29-28'd easy Alessandro Costa. And Alessandro Costa is a decent fighter too, in my opinion. So I think this guy's just gonna keep on moving up the ranks, and unfortunately, I think the UFC knows what they're doing here. They're feeding the vet with somewhat of a name value, a little bit older in Matt Schnell, to Steve Erceg to really just kind of grow his hype a little bit more. So Erceg will also be the fighter who's 6 years younger in this fight too. So I think that Erceg, he will be able to just scramble too well for Snell. I think he's going to throw in some good jabs, leg kicks, calf kicks, and I think that he may even sub Matt Schnell at some point, depending on how this fight goes. So I believe that Erceg would just be too high IQ to just fall into any traps that Schnell may lay during the fight. And I'm going with Erceg via sub. I think he's a parlay piece for me. I would stick him with some parlays.